So right there,
Men
look
gain
at him.
respect by earning money, supporting their family.
Look at that.
Bruh.
Come on. Come on. You know, we giving up. And so there is a balance that comes with this stuff. In my opinion, there is a balance that comes with going after all this stuff, this capitalism and things of that nature, and having a balance for taking care of your health. He's talking.
What it takes to make change. What it takes to make change.
I think we all go through a phase of life where we want to personally develop, self-develop, be the best that we absolutely can be, and achieve some level of greatness. I just believe that my work as a therapist, my work, and not only my work, but my experience working with so many different people and just experiencing life in general has gotten to the point where I understand there is a level of toxicity within the self-development movement, within the go hard or go home, work until boom boom boom, there's no real limit to an end. And I'm millennial generation. We are the last generation that I believe went through that space and got to the point where we say, okay, we've been lied to. There is a level of truth in working hard, go to school, go to college, etc. However, it is not going to achieve the life that we were promised. So, and I believe Gen Z has actually figured it out that there is some toxicity within this movement of continuously just focusing on self-development and self-improvement. Now, that doesn't mean that self-development, self-improvement, and trying to improve ourselves is bad altogether, but the approach is toxic. So let's all explore this video. We're gonna go through self-improvement is killing Gen Z. Let's get right into it.
I recently found out that YouTube sometimes classifies my channel under self-improvement, and that a lot of the time, my videos can be found alongside other self-improvement related content in the recommended feed, which is funny, because some days I genuinely wake up at 4 p.m. I don't really consider my videos life advice because I don't think I'm someone who's in a position to be giving life advice. Just like you guys, I'm also trying to figure things out. My videos are more like me openly reflecting on my own experiences with things and just talking about some of the things I've learned along the way. I do think it's cool that despite that, many people have found my videos helpful in their personal lives. I think we're all at that age where everyone is trying to become a better version of themselves. Especially when you look at the world around you, it feels like a lot of things are out of our control. But the one thing you can control is yourself. So while you may not be able to make the world better overnight, the simple solution is to start by bettering yourself. Everyone wants to make a change, whether that be getting in shape, reinventing your wardrobe, trying to find a partner, making more money, or even
I don't think everybody actually wants to change, to be honest with you. I think
finally deciding to chase your dreams.
Some
Working
people are
on
content.
yourself is something everyone should do. But unfortunately, like a lot of things, it gets a lot more complicated than that when it comes to our generation. But before we continue, today's video is sponsored by Opera. I've recently started using Opera as my main web browser, and it's honestly changed my experience for the better. I know a lot of people don't think too hard about what web browser they're using, as long as it allows them to get on YouTube and watch a grown man make anime PNG animations. But Opera has a ton of features that have improved my overall quality of life and have honestly even made me more productive. I have a bad habit of going on Wikipedia binges, and one quick search can quickly turn into 20 tabs of reading about kangaroos or the origin of life. Opera actually groups these tabs into tab islands so that I don't get lost and can quickly jump back to doing what I was originally doing. And if I want, I can organize them myself, like world history or clothes I want but can't afford, or whatever else I'm working. Easy to spot and even collapse or expand them to keep things clean. So instead of a chaotic mess of tabs, everything's neatly organized and way easier to navigate. Another thing I like about Opera is that it looks good, but not only that, it has fully customizable browser themes too. Dark mode, light. I've been using the Obsidian theme. Opera also has you don't have to keep switching windows and tabbing in and out screen, even outside the browser, so it's always accessible. It also automatically pauses itself when you start listening to something else, like watching a video. So you can keep watching your favorite creators while also getting work done. Download Opera using my link in the description or in the pinned comment to upgrade the way you use the internet. Thanks again to Opera for sponsoring today's video, and now back to business. I don't really think this is a secret to anyone, but there is a very toxic side of self-improvement culture for young people, especially for young men. I think it's easy to laugh at some of the more ridiculous examples out there, but under the surface, I do think a lot of us are deeply hurting on an emotional level.
I would agree that being a therapist, I see a lot of this from day to day. Is that what I've noticed is that I've seen people with so many different problems from different experiences. Some very successful, so successful men and what we would call unsuccessful people, men and women, all sitting up my chair, and they share the same experiences in terms of not the same experiences in terms of where they are in life, but their problems are still the same. In terms of the range or the type of problems, they still have the same emotional problems that typically stem from childhood. Okay, so there is a toxic side that I agree with to self-development, but it's based on where the person is in their life.
Not good enough is something I've talked about a lot on this channel,
Sure.
and it's a feeling many of us can relate to.
Self-image
a lot
is
of people
huge.
feel like they're
Self-image
falling
is
behind
huge.
in the various areas of life, professionally, socially, and even physically. And when that pressure starts to get to you, inadequacy can start to turn into insecurity, which
And that all really determines how they see themselves. There are some of us, and I'm a millennial, so the way I look at things is terms of like millennials, especially what I know about millennials, that we on this bridge of the old world and some of what we would call the new world, the technology age. And why I believe that serves us, and I'm sure the bleeding is in all the other generations as well. So that's not to say that other generations didn't have it, or they don't find themselves within that bridge, or they wasn't able to adapt. But the truth of what I'm saying is that when we are the bridge, we have the old world. So what we would consider before technology age, where we have some of those skills that where we would have to communicate with one another via traveling to a friend's house or calling the phone, only knowing the house phone number. We would have to go through a few more steps to get things done. So going to the research wise, going to the library to get certain things. So we're on that bridge. We're on that bridge, but then we're also on the bridge to where the technologies are introduced, and we're young enough to adapt. So there's this part where I believe the Generation Z that we're referring to are struggling with, or potentially struggling with, when you don't have as many challenges, or the challenges doesn't require you to take so many steps to solve, then when there is a real challenge that takes many steps and consistency and pushing through, etc., it becomes very difficult, especially when we had things what we would consider to be instantly.
is why I think it's important to understand that when it comes to self-improvement, there's a big difference between self-love versus self-hate.
Sure.
And sadly, a lot of young people hate themselves. You might hate the
I would
way you
agree.
look, or maybe hate the situation you're currently in. You want to make a change not because
Find
you
their
love yourself
flaws
and
very
think you
easily.
deserve better, but because you hate who you are and you want that part of you to die. But I just don't think that's healthy. Self-improvement is self-care, not self-sacrifice. Growth does require discomfort, but you shouldn't be actively harming yourself as a part of the process.
Yeah, that's the part where I don't get, is a lot of the motivational speakers, or some of the motivational speakers, or some of the motivational influencers, health influencers, wellness influencers that we see tend to break down these individuals and in some ways, shame them and guilt them into improving. Now that may work for some people, but you have to remember that the first step to change for anyone is developing and improving their image of themselves, developing a level of self-esteem. So, but if you're dealing with people who have already pretty much have been broken from childhood or whatever, situation, divorce, failing, not succeeding, or whatever the case may be, and then you go break the person down, mentally, and tell them that they need a strong mind to do it. There are a different approach, especially with the new generation. Their approach is different. We're not going to get that the vast majority is not going to be able to receive that hard criticism in hopes that it develops and improves the way that that person sees him or herself.
Hey, bro, have you seen my hammer? I need to... I can't tell if you need some help or some privacy. Bro, I'm just bone smashing to improve my facial structure. A guy on TikTok said my cheekbones are too feminine to attract women. There are a lot of
Oh my
things about
goodness,
you
there's a lot of
that
stuff online.
but I don't
for sure.
think your cheekbones are it. Don't be mad at me because you're not disciplined enough for looks maxing. You can keep being a sub-6 chud and get mogged. First of all, I'm at least a 6.5. Second, I need my hammer back. Fine. I'll start my jelt maxing routine until you're done. You're what? So basically, I take my hand and put it around my... You know what? I'm good. The problem with self-hate is that eventually you start projecting that hate onto the world and the people around you. And this makes you vulnerable to bad actors who want to take advantage of you. Self-improvement scams have been around since they were selling people snake oil in the 1800s. It's just now, instead of snake oil, it's an online course. Millennials had Ty Lopez in his garage with that new Lamborghini, and now Gen Z is being brainwashed by TikTok larpers telling you to drop out of college and start dropshipping. The world feels a little extra bitter these days because we're realizing a lot of the traditional paths aren't really getting us anywhere. So a lot of people want to take advantage.
Well, that goes into the world that's changing as well, you know. So the world is changing. So some of these things and some of these different jobs and careers are shifting. So I know specifically, I'm a millennial, and I know specifically tons of people who have gone to college who is not working in their field of study, or the field of study. There's no room for growth. Many people that I don't, maybe I didn't go to a good school. Who knows? Who knows when it comes to that? A lot of people can say what they want to say about that, but the truth of it is that there's many people who are not working their jobs that they went to school for. So now I'm not saying, dropping out of school for drop shipping, but what we really want to start thinking about is developing skills, right? Developing skills and developing the skills for the new world. But there is a part where you can develop the individual as well as pulling some of the positivity at them and get them going in the direction that best fits them. So, but we spend a lot of time disrespecting Gen Z, saying that they're soft and they ain't been through anything. And truth be told, the world that they grew up in and their experience is their experience.
Of that frustration and use it to get you to buy what they're selling as a solution. I remember when I was in college, there was this thing called Forex, and nearly everybody I knew was trying to get me to join, and they give you the same pitch every single time. Hey bro, you should sign up for Forex with me. I'm gonna be making so much money. You're gonna be making so much money? Well, yeah, I haven't started it yet, but I just paid this guy $200 to sign up. And if I get 2 other people to sign up for $200, I make my $200 back and get $200 profit.
We all got
so
that.
You paid some guy $200 just to sign up? Well, yeah, but you get added to a group chat and get to learn all the secrets of currency trading. Okay, so how much money have they made? Well, I don't know, but they say they've made a lot, and they've made this money from trading. Well, trading and signing other people up. So let me get this straight. You pay a guy $200 to sign up, bro. Then you recruit 2 other people who pay you $200 to sign up, and then they recruit 2 more people each? Yeah, exactly. Bro, that's a pyramid scheme. No, they said it's called building a network. Don't you know anything about business? I think I'll pass for now. I think young men are especially vulnerable to this. And I think it's the real reason why a lot of toxic ideology is starting to become a lot more popular with young men. Many guys feel like they're falling behind in the world, like their lives don't matter. Jobs don't need you, women don't need you, the world doesn't need you. And a lot of these people on the internet are really good at telling young men exactly what they want to hear. A lot of men feel under attack and are looking for any relief from the hostility. Someone to say that they see us trying and that they respect us. Traditionally, men gain respect by earning money, supporting their families, and being leaders.
You see that? Gain that respect from earning money, being good leaders, and all that stuff is really, really good. But did you show the image? The image, let's go back. Look at the image of that man that has sacrificed everything for bucks, for dollars. Just a little bit. Let's go.
Ultimately,
Right there.
men
Look
gain
at him.
respect by earning money, supporting their family.
Look at that.
Bruh.
Come on. Come on. You know, we've given up. And so there is a balance that comes with this stuff. In my, my opinion, there is a balance that comes with going after all this stuff, this capitalism and things of that nature, and having a balance for taking care of your health. He's talking about self-care and doing for yourself and self-compassion and all of those things. But this is the thing behind this, is that we're not able to take care of ourselves. We have to be able to take care of ourselves. So that's a very important space right there.
Leaders. But for our generation, where it's hard for young people to find careers, it's hard to support yourself, let alone a family. And where older generations refuse to give young people a chance to lead, men feel devalued and lost. People often talk about an us versus them mentality being something dividing our generation. But for men, it often feels more like me versus everybody. So men are led down paths where we reject community and see ourselves as being at war with the world and everyone else in it. I've noticed that a lot of Gen Z guys genuinely believe that you have to give up your life just to date or get married. There's this jaded view that other people are problems to be solved.
But that's a lot of the influence that's currently in the space is, we're overgeneralizing an experience. And that's the thing, there are so many various experiences. There are successful marriages, there are situations that didn't work out, there are people who cheat, there are people who don't cheat. There is unlimited amount of experiences, but we generalize it so that people like this in this situation, or young men in this situation, or even men my age, we tend to avoid stepping into those spaces because of some of the content that we view online, and to be easily persuaded, it simply displays a lack of belief in self
instead of allies against the same struggle. So we end up losing the plot and take the self out of self-improvement. I've spoken before about how some people will take the message of self-improvement and use it to pick at your insecurities. They make you question yourself so that you look to them for the answer, creating a problem so that you buy their solution. It's like when you take your car to the shop for an oil change and the mechanic tells you there's something wrong with your engine too. But the truth is that these are almost never the solution you're really looking for. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Nice, bro.
Self-development, self-image,
no time.
believing in yourself.
Maybe
that's what you're looking for.
The ladies will finally want me.
As a therapist, what I've understand, I've worked with NBA players, I've worked with professional athletes, I've worked with business people, I've worked with so many different people in this space that I do. I do what they call neurofeedback brain training, and what I find is that, like as I said earlier, we all have the universal problems. Those certain different stages does not represent anything different from that. Does that make sense?
What? Nah, bro, you got it all wrong.
And that's what I was saying. I'm sorry, it got a little twisted, but that that our job what I find out again, and what I find out working with the people that I work with, the most important thing that a person can have is inner self-belief, improved, increased self-image. And that's not egotism. It's more about balance and understanding where you really are, but having some level of faith in being able to see the desired state.
Nice, bro. Good set. You're gonna be swole in no time. Yeah, maybe once I'm jacked, the ladies will finally want me. What? Nah, bro, you got it all wrong. Huh? But on Tried and Chat, they said girls only like guys with big muscles.
No disrespect, you gotta want you.
Everyone knows that you don't lift weights to impress girls. You lift weights to impress other dudes. Hey, man.
Bruh. Bruh.
That's wild. Come on now. Man.
nice muscles. Thanks, bro. Hey, I'm trying to get like you. Wait, so girls don't actually like super ripped dudes? Yeah, bro. You gotta understand the female gaze. Female gaze? I thought they were called lesbians. Different kind of gaze, bro. Something not a lot of people talk about when it comes to self-improvement is the importance of identity. A lot of people not only have a vision for where they want to be in life, but also who they want to become. Self-improvement, in many ways, is not just an exercise in discipline and commitment, but also self-actualization. And it's another reason why LARPing has gotten so popular. A lot of people's goal isn't just to be better in a specific area, but to also achieve a certain lifestyle. This is why you have older dudes calling 20-year-olds big bro. Like, dude, you're 27, cut it out. And this is kind of the issue with self-improvement content, because it turns the act of bettering yourself into a performance rather than a genuine effort. So now there's people who put more energy into pretending to be a grinder than actually grinding. The truth is that the people who really are living the lifestyle probably aren't putting it on the internet. Self-improvement isn't about what you have, it's who you are. Self-improvement requires self-awareness. It's important to have a vision for the future, but you also have to have a plan on how you're gonna get there too. Heard you've been on your grind lately, bro. How's that going? Yeah, I'm trying to level up in life. Oh, really? How so? So basically, I want to get a BMW M4, then I want to get a six-pack, then I want to date a model.
So all of these are all surface levels things. This is the part where I believe that a lot of this stuff, and the reason why it's hard for these people to, or if a person is not attaining their goals, is because they haven't went deeper. And I'm not just saying therapy, but really diving into that space, how they see themselves. Because when you see yourself, again, I've talked to so many people, and I don't care who your life coach is, your therapist is, or who's your mentor. If you don't see some level of success, if you don't have, success is a simple word, but healing, if you don't have a good vision of who you are, then there's nothing that these programs can do. There's nothing that going after the money, going after the vehicle you can do, because again, you have to see yourself in the light of being able to have those things, because currently your reality right now is a reflection of your past thoughts. You are the manifestation of your past thoughts. So if you don't improve your thoughts and how you see yourself, then there's no way that any of these things can be attainable.
And then I'm gonna buy a house in the hills. Wow, those are some big dreams. How long do you think it's gonna take? Like a year, maybe? A year? Maybe like 14 months? Okay, have you set any tangible, measurable goals to hold yourself accountable? Or is all you wanna do is LARP? Goals? Yeah, like you want a BMW. How are you gonna get it? Easy, I'm gonna be making 100K a month. Doing what?
I don't know. Let me know if people, and again, I haven't talked to anyone that's that simple-minded, by saying they're going to be making something. And maybe I just haven't talked to enough of this particular generation, but, obviously that's simple-minded. I'm going to make 100,000. Okay, doing what? And I'm hoping that there are people not really like this, and it might be. You have to have some plan. So, and what I mean a plan, it's not like, yes, step by step, but I believe skills pay the bills. You have to have some level of a skill. What can I do that can be proven based on the ability? Right? That's a skill. A skill is, again, I'm a therapist. So yes, there could be other therapists, but I'm only competing against therapists. I'm not competing against this electrician. Now, if I need a job that's a person needs to do some electrical work on something, I can't call this person because they don't have that ability. This person has that skill set. So when you start thinking about making money, think of skill sets. Some of these skill sets that require you using these are still very resourceful. But then also think about, how can I turn this brain into a skill set, and learn something that other people pay for. Okay. So yes, this is very possible. I know it's possible. I've seen it, but the reality of how people get in there, I think, is wild. But in order to get to like, again, self-image, skill sets. Obviously I didn't say those in the way that you want to do it, but gotta have those.
Drop shipping, of course. Do you
Okay.
know anything about drop shipping? Nah, but I have like 20 TikToks bookmarked about it. So you have no goals, skills, education, or resources. And all of this is just supposed to work out. Bro, I kind of feel like you're hating. They said this will happen in the course. What course? The Lifestyle and Revenue Program. It's $200 a month. Lifestyle and Revenue Program. You bought a LARP course? Well, bro, you're getting scammed. You need to cancel that. But they said they can get me a new Beamer in just 6 months. The thing about self-improvement is that a lot of it is just the same stuff your mom told you growing up. Make your bed, eat vegetables, read. But because some bald guy on the internet told you to do it, you finally listen. There is no real reward when it...
That's so wild. That is so wild. And I do a lot of work in certain areas, health and wellness and mental health and things like that. And I give things, different tidbits and little tools and tips to my people that I love and care about. And I'm not saying to take it poorly. However, people pay me for this information, and that's fine. But me giving it away to a person for free, they're like, don't want it. And that's so wild to me. But it's quite interesting. I bet there's something psychologically behind that.
Comes to self-improvement. And if you cheat it, the only person who loses is you. Someone once told me that you don't climb mountains so people can see you at the top. You climb mountains so you can look out and enjoy the view. If you want to make any improvement in your life, the first step is setting some goals and finding out the best way to accomplish them. I used to be a swim instructor, and I once had a student named Gabby who on day one was afraid to even get into the pool. She was convinced that she'd never learn how to swim, but nobody learns how to swim on day one. So I told Gabby the first thing she needed to do was to not be afraid to put her head underwater.
That's
because
fact.
like
Step
Gabby,
by step.
when trying something new, I think a lot of us can be afraid to put our heads underwater too. But doing that,
don't think about the end so much.
Step to learning how to swim.
See the end goal, what it's gonna look like, visualize it in your mind's eye, right? But then on the other side, the how, don't worry about the how. Just do the next thing. So in this case, to learn to swim, before you even learn to swim and get to the part where, where she's really afraid of, the first thing we need to do is better get in water, then get our head underwater. We can do that step, and then we can gradually make the next step. So that's excellent.
And each day I had Gabby in my class, we had a new goal. But after 6 weeks of swim lessons, I taught Gabby how to swim. Did she throw up in the pool several times? Yes. But we overcame that challenge together with a lot of chlorine. Many people seem to assume self-improvement has to be a solo journey. But in practice, people are a lot more successful when they have a community to support them. Self-improvement is ultimately an act of self-care, learning to accept yourself and love yourself. It's not about how much money you have, what car you drive, or how big your muscles are. Be a better person. That's the goal. Thanks for watching the video.
Okay, so that was an interesting video. There is a lot of truth to it. In my own personal opinion, my professional opinion, I just believe that we're in a space in time today where people are trying to figure out things that's going to best benefit them. What I've learned is that there's tons of people who, yes, they want to improve themselves, but they also have a lower self-image, a lower perspective of who they are. And before we can start getting into all the practices and things of that nature and doing all that and bringing all the reality, the image that we see in the mirror, we got to get to some level of acceptance of that. That's the first step is self-esteem, compassion, what we actually see. So some of these things are very, I guess in my own personal opinion, we know we should be doing some of these things, such as the working out, the eating healthy, the practicing mindfulness and things like that. But yes, the information is repetitive to a degree. Because what they used to say back in the day, if you're not new to the streets, then they used to say there's nothing new under the sun. You feel what I'm saying? So there's nothing new under the sun. And I truly believe that all of this information is being recycled. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just saying that once you've read one, once you read another, there might be a different approaches and things like that in terms of self improvement. However, now we got to start applying some of these things, these action steps, because just reading a book, getting inside of a program, and having some level of just just battle through it is not going to do it. We got to develop some level of inner self belief, and that's somewhat spiritual to an extent. All right, that's the end of the video, guys. Let me know what you think. Put your comments in the comment section. Let me know if you feel if you feel the same that I do, or let me know if you have some different opinions on it. Either way, put in the chat. Make sure you like the video. If you like these type of videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Off the Couch. This is where we're going to talk about all things mental wellness, spirituality, self-improvement the right way, real positivity, and things of that nature. Again, smash that button. Appreciate you hanging out with your boy. Peace.
The winner don't stand no chances. Hotter in the summer.